Hello, my name is Chris, and I'll be trying to solve the question following. Suppose a ball is dropped from 100 feet from the ground. How much seconds will it take the ball to hit the ground? Note, you will need to use the fact that acceleration due to gravity is negative 32 feet per second squared, as well as that at 0 seconds the velocity of the ball is 0 as well, and the same as for height. Okay, so what do we have to find again? We have to find how many seconds will it take the ball to hit the ground. Okay, so good thing is that they gave us acceleration, so we can say that a of t is equal to negative 32 feet per second squared. We also give that a velocity of 0 is equal to 0, and the height is also 150 when relating to height, that is more or less position. So s of 0 is equal to 150 feet. Yeah, feet and 0. So I'm gonna say feet. Okay. So how can we get, or how can we find out that what is our volume or our time? Sorry, from 150 feet, and we get our ball dropped all the way down. How long would it take? So we have to find what t is. And how can we do that? Well, we have to find we have to find our original function. And how can we do that? Well, if we can't figure out what a or v or s means yet, we can say this is our second derivative, this is our first derivative, and this is our original function. So how can we go from the second derivative all the way down to our first original function? We could do that by integration. And integration means as ax, say we have a power of, for this example, n plus 1 over n plus 1. And if we can see that this is the exact opposite of a derivative, where an example taking derivative will minus the power. Okay? And then this will times n over 1. So this is dx. So that, can we see that integration is basically the reverse of derivative, so the antiderivative, if you can say. So we can do this. So to find v of t, we have to take the integration of our second derivative, so we can go to the first derivative, and our second derivative value is negative 32 feet, or actually just negative 32 feet, with disrespect to dt. Okay. Using this, the formula up top, v of t is equal to, since this is just a constant of 0 because it's our negative 32, we can say that negative 32 feet, or say t if we want, but let's just use feet, to the power 1 over 1 plus c. And why do we use c? Because when we take a derivative of, let's say, 4x squared plus 2, it will only become ax plus 0. So we don't know what our c is. So we always have a constant. So v of t is equal to negative 32, say t this time, plus c. And to know how can we get from our second, since this is our first derivative, how can we get down to our first original function if we don't even know our c? Luckily, they gave us a hint, if you can say. When we plug in for 0 for every t, our value becomes 0. So we're going to state that. So this whole function, or this whole first derivative, becomes 0 for every t we put for 0. So negative 32 of 0 plus c. And can we see that this cancels out and giving us c is equal to 0. Therefore, leaving us as the first derivative, or a velocity of t, is equal to negative 32 t. And plus 0 if you want, okay? So now we're almost there. So how can we get from our first derivative to our original? By taking the integral of it. So the integral of s of t will equal, so s of t will equal the integration of negative 32 of t plus 0 every 1. So s of t will become, using that, we have an exponent up there of 1 because of our t, and we plus 1, it will become 2, leaving us with 2 on the bottom. So negative 32 divided by 2 is negative 16 t squared. And you can see that this is true because when we take the derivative of this, it will be negative 32t. And we don't have to put the plus 0, but we do have to put a plus c. And how can we find a plus c? Let's go back and see if it gives a hint. And we see that it does. So for every s or t, that we see, we plug in a 0 and it will give us 150. So negative 16 over 0 squared plus c, it will give us 150 feet is equal to c as this cancels out, giving us our original function of s of t is equal to, let's see, negative 16 squared t squared plus 150. Now we have our original function. We were able to find out what a t is. And how can you find that? We will find that by setting this equal to 0 and solving for t. So first thing I'm going to do is plus 16 on both sides. Plus 16t squared plus 16 squared would be 16t squared is equal to 150. Get t by itself by dividing, giving us that this cancels out. T squared is equal to 150 over 16. And since I don't have a calculator right now, since I'm at a hotel right now, we're just going to leave this as our exact value. And what should we take the square root to cancel the power, and we'll set this whole thing to the square root, giving us that at t is equal to the square root of 150 over 16. And this means that it would take this much time for the ball of 150 feet tall, or high, will hit the ground. It would take this much time. Thank you.